Hello everyone, and welcome to my latest YouTube video titled How to Become Unfuckwithable. So this video is going to directly play off the past two videos, what is a trauma spiral and how to heal the worthiness wound. Basically, both those previous videos combined, what is a trauma spiral, how to heal the worthiness wound. This is the process of how you become unfuckwithable, uncancelable. And I'm going to start this video here. I remember it was the end of 2015. I was 28 years old and I just got out of a toxic relationship. It was very contentious, not an amicable ending. And that was at the end of that relationship. That was the first time as an adult. I was 28, about to turn 29. That was the first time as an adult that I went to therapy. So I had an anxiety disorder as a kid. So I did a lot of anxiety therapy in my teenage years, in my early 20s. And then I did probably about nothing from 21 until about 28. So this rupture in this relationship, the end of 2015, was basically my entry point into, kind of healing, working on myself, therapy as an adult. And in particular, it was my introduction to shadow work. And so I remember I went to therapy just because it was a very contentious ending. And I wanted to really look at myself, like what aspects of myself created a relationship that was this unhealthy, right? And at the ending of that relationship, my ex was slandering my name, was in a trauma spiral of some respect, and was, saying all these, really hurtful things about my character. And so I remember I went in this process with this therapist at the time, and I really dug deep into my shadow. And one thing she said to me was, Jamie, your reputation is right with the people who matter. And we worked through the process of looking at every single aspect of your shadow. So when it comes to be on how to become unfuckwithable, shadow work. So I looked at every single aspect of my shadow, every single aspect of my little boy that would have created a situation that would have led to this unhealthy relationship, right? And this is why, and a really important question, and this is really, really important, like when it comes to relationships and breakups, right? Say you're in a relationship. What would your partner's biggest complaint about you be? Say you're not in a relationship. What would the common thread of all your exes combined, if there was a common thread, what would their biggest complaint be about you? Or your most recent relationship that you're in, what would your ex's biggest complaint be about you? So when you begin to move towards every single aspect of your shadow, which again is your trauma and your unworthiness, also just aspects of your personality and who you are that make you difficult. What makes you difficult to be with, to live with, to be able to communicate with? When you're really able to turn over every single stone of what makes you a difficult person, what makes you a flawed human being, what makes you neurotic, idiosyncratic, whatever it might be, maybe you have OCD and you like to turn the fucking doorknob 30 fucking times before you actually lock the door, whatever it might be. When you look at every single part of yourself and you either make peace with it or you begin to heal it, then there's nothing anybody can say about you that you don't already know. So you become unfuckwithable when there's literally nothing someone can say about you that you haven't started to love and integrate within yourself. What makes people really sneaky, really skittish, really, I need to attack people, I need to run away, is when they're afraid something's going to be exposed that they haven't earthed within themselves. And so what it really takes is radical ownership and accountability. You have to take stock of your life and yourself and take radical responsibility for the results in your life. Everything that is happening, why your relationships have turned a certain way, why your finances are a certain way, why your health is a certain way, when you take radical fucking ownership, accountability, and responsibility, then you're looking at everything. And you're not playing a victim. You're saying, I need to call myself to rise here. I need to tenderly love myself here. And again, with being unfuckwithable, it's both the tender compassion, the lovingness to yourself, and the challenge, the healthy challenge of yourself, calling yourself to rise, to be within higher integrity of your higher self. Both those pieces. What makes you difficult? What makes you hard to be in a relationship with? What makes you hard to live with? What makes you hard to communicate with? What are all the aspects of your shadow? Bring it all in. Take radical accountability for everything in your life. Don't let anything go. Bring everything up. Moving out of victim consciousness, moving into creator consciousness. I need your constant focusing on my side of the fence. You go through a breakup. It doesn't matter. Never talk shit about an ex. It doesn't matter what's going on with them. What's going on in your lane? What are you going to do? What do you need to move and integrate within yourself? When you're constantly looking at your side of the street, you become uncancelable. You become unfuckwithable. Because there's nothing anyone can say about you. You're not actively in progress and transmission of healing. So you can expose it and be, yeah, that's part of my shadow. Yeah, that's something I'm working on. You're right. I need to take accountability for that. I need to be within better integrity of that. And you've gone so deep into every single aspect of yourself. Yes, that makes me difficult. I am difficult in these ways. You know, it's like you go on a first date. Like, you know, I think a fucking healthy conversation would be two people being, this is what my ex said about me. This is what makes me difficult. Like, imagine on a first date, you both just listed the 10 things that makes you the most difficult to be in a relationship with. I mean, there might not be a fucking second date, but at least you'd be within integrity. No, I'm sure if you were actually aligned with that person, you'd be like, this is fucking amazing. That's the worst thing about you? Oh my God, like I love this sort of accountability. This is incredible. This is amazing. But that's how you become unfuckwithable, when you are the first one to move into accountability and ownership. When you're always able to move into working with your shadow. Here's the thing, is that working with our shadow brings us to the light. We don't want to get lost in our shadow. We don't want to circulate, oh, Jamie, I'm a piece of shit. Yeah, that's part of my shadow, and I'm working on that. I'm integrating these aspects. I need to be in more integrity in these ways. And you're really integrating and work, but you don't live in the dark. When you don't live in the dark, you don't make that your space. You don't repeatedly beat your fucking self up. Then you can move into the light. You can be light, levity, joy, because you're integrating every single aspect of your dark. We're both light and dark. When we truly live in a light vibration, it means we've met our darkness and we've accepted it. We've loved it within ourselves. And there's nothing anyone can say about us that we're not integrating and moving into within ourselves. We're the first one to take ownership and accountability. What makes us difficult? When you do that, you become uncancelable. Because you're moving into both graciousness, loving, tenderness with yourself, and calling yourself to rise. And when someone takes accountability, shit lands differently. Of course, if they keep doing the same shit over and over, it kind of hits like a broken record. The best apology is changed behavior, yes, but it has to begin with an accountability and honesty with yourself, and then the change in course of action. But it begins with that radical ownership that you move out of victim consciousness, you focus on your side of the fence. I need to look at these aspects. I need to work. This is something I need to shift. This is something that I need to change. When you and you do that in every fucking aspect of your life, and you take sole fucking responsibility, you move into creator consciousness, and you can't be fucked with. Because there's a loving graciousness with yourself, and a call to rise and a call to challenge. That is how you become unfuckwithable, uncancelable. It's moving into your shadow, moving into your darkness, moving into what makes you difficult, getting out of victim consciousness and taking total accountability and ownership for your side of the fence, cleaning up your side of the fence, tender lovingness of your unworthiness, of your trauma, and calling yourself to rise, that healing in these ways now becomes your responsibility. To challenge yourself to rise into more of a higher evolution towards the higher self. This is how you become unfuckwithable. This is directly related to what is a trauma spiral and how to heal the worthiness wound. These three pieces, healing your trauma, moving to the core root of your unworthiness, taking radical responsibility, accountability, moving out of victim consciousness, looking at every aspect of your shadow. What makes you difficult? You need to know what makes you difficult and be working with that. What makes you difficult? To be actively in transmission. At the very least, be able to love and accept what makes you challenging. Yeah, I do that. That's something about me. I'm not a perfect human being. And then there are other certain areas where, yeah, but that's something I really need to work on improving. You stop all the fucking drama and you move into a space of creation, particularly in your life. You get out of darkness, you get out of shame, you get out of sabotage, and you get out of stagnation, and no one can fuck with you. And it's not a projection, it's not a self-inflation. You just become uncancelable because you're looking at every single aspect of your shadow. That's how you become unfuckwithable. Nobody can fuck with you.